The cameras are rolling, the pressure is high, and the headlines are louder than ever. This is Theodore, and tonight's bulletin isn't just another roundup, it's a full-blown collision of nostalgia, controversy, celebrity image control, and the unpredictable chaos of modern fame. Because what started as a simple week in entertainment has spiraled into a layered storm involving Miley Cyrus revisiting her past, shocking revelations from Jason Earles, a heated misunderstanding tied to Chappell Roan, brand fatigue triggered by Alix Earle, and a growing reality TV ecosystem orbiting Mormon influencers that's starting to look less like entertainment and more like a calculated expansion strategy. And we're not skimming the surface, we're going straight into the core of it, because every piece of this story connects to a deeper pattern about power, perception, and how fast the internet decides who's right and who's wrong before facts even catch up. Starting with Miley Cyrus, who has once again stepped into the spotlight not as the rebellious figure people debated for years, but as someone reclaiming her narrative during the anniversary of Hannah Montana, a show that didn't just define a generation, but also quietly exposed the machinery behind child stardom. And what makes this moment explosive isn't just nostalgia, it's the timing. Because Miley isn't just reminiscing, she's revealing, confirming a long-rumored but never fully acknowledged relationship with Dylan Sprouse, casually dropping what sounds like harmless teenage history, but actually reinforcing how interconnected and tightly controlled that Disney ecosystem really was, where relationships, friendships, rivalries, and even identities were shaped under a system that prioritized image over individuality. And when she jokes about it being a 2-for-1 because of his twin, it lands light on the surface, but underneath it signals something bigger. These were kids navigating fame inside a machine that treated them like interchangeable parts. And that becomes even more evident when you factor in her past admissions about being underpaid, not owning her own name, and not fully understanding what she signed up for. Because this isn't just about a reunion special, it's about rewriting history in real time. And the most striking detail is that Miley admitted she essentially manifested the entire anniversary project by speaking it into existence before it was even approved, which tells you everything about how influence works now. Control the narrative early, and the system follows your lead. A strategy that flips the traditional power dynamic on its head, because instead of networks dictating careers, personalities like Miley are now bending institutions to match their vision. And while that sounds empowering, it also raises a question. How much of this is genuine healing, and how much of it is calculated rebranding designed to align her past with her current image as an artist who has outgrown the system that built her? And right when that conversation starts gaining traction, Jason Earles drops his own revelation that cuts through the polished nostalgia like a knife, admitting he lied about his age to land his role, claiming he was 18 when he was actually 28 and didn't get exposed until episodes into the first season, which on paper sounds almost comedic, but let's not ignore what it really highlights: an industry so focused on appearances that a nearly 30-year-old man convincingly played a teenager alongside actual minors without immediate scrutiny. And instead of facing consequences, he stayed, continued, and became part of a global hit, which forces you to question how much authenticity ever mattered in casting decisions, and whether the audience was ever meant to see reality or just a version of it that sells best. Because if age can be manipulated that easily, what else was being adjusted behind the scenes? And this is where the tone shifts, because while Miley and Jason's stories revolve around controlled environments of the past, the situation involving Chappell Roan shows what happens when control slips in the present, where one moment, just one, spirals into a global debate about celebrity boundaries, fan entitlement, and accountability, triggered by a father's emotional account of his young daughter allegedly being confronted harshly by a security guard after simply recognizing the singer in a hotel. A story that exploded online with people immediately taking sides, some painting Chappell as hostile and ungrateful, others defending her stance on privacy. And what's critical here is that she wasn't even aware of the incident, later clarifying she didn't see the interaction and that the guard wasn't part of her team. And then the guard himself steps forward, taking responsibility while explaining he acted based on perceived security risks and prior observations, revealing he was actually assigned to another artist entirely, reportedly Sabrina Carpenter. And suddenly the narrative shifts again, exposing how quickly assumptions become accusations and how easily a public figure's reputation can be shaped by actions they didn't even authorize. And yet, despite clarification, skepticism remains, with some insisting it's damage control. Which brings us to the uncomfortable truth. Once a story fits the public's existing perception of a celebrity, facts don't erase it, they just compete with it. And Chappell Roan's ongoing emphasis on boundaries plays directly into this divide, because in a culture that celebrates accessibility, any pushback from a celebrity can be framed as arrogance, even when it's about personal safety. And this isn't just about one incident, it's about the evolving relationship between fame and privacy, where fans feel closer than ever, but also more entitled than ever. And celebrities are forced to draw lines that inevitably get criticized no matter where they place them. And while that storm is still settling, another conversation is brewing around Alix Earle's latest move, launching her skincare brand ERUPTS, which on the surface aligns perfectly with her content and personal story, especially her openness about acne and treatments like Accutane. But the reaction reveals something deeper: fatigue. Not necessarily with her, but with the formula itself, because influencer to skincare founder has become so common that even well-founded launches are met with skepticism. And the criticism isn't just about the product, it's about authenticity versus commercialization, where audiences are starting to question whether these brands are genuine solutions or just extensions of personal branding strategies designed to capitalize on trust. And even though Alix clarified that her products are not replacements for medical treatments, but supportive additions, the initial confusion shows how quickly messaging can be misinterpreted when the audience is already wary. And this ties back to a larger pattern. Whether it's Miley reclaiming her narrative, Chappell defending her boundaries, or Alix launching a brand, every move is dissected not just for what it is, but for what people believe it represents. And that belief is often shaped long before the action itself. And then there's the final layer of this already complex week, the expansion of the Mormon influencer reality space, with a new spinoff reportedly centered on Jenna Affleck and potentially featuring creators like Aspen Ovard, which signals something more strategic than spontaneous, because this isn't just another show, it's the extension of a niche cultural narrative into a broader entertainment franchise, capitalizing on curiosity, controversy, and the unique blend of tradition and modern influencer life. And the speculation alone is driving engagement, proving that in today's media landscape, anticipation can be just as powerful as content. And when you step back and look at everything together, a pattern emerges: control versus chaos, past versus present, authenticity versus perception. Because Miley's story shows how the past can be reshaped. Jason's confession reveals how easily reality can be bent. Chappell's situation proves how quickly narratives can spiral. Alix's launch highlights the tension between personal story and market saturation, and the Mormon Wives spinoff demonstrates how entire subcultures are being packaged and expanded for consumption. And through it all, one thing remains constant: the audience is no longer just watching, they're interpreting, judging, amplifying, and sometimes distorting, turning every moment into a larger statement about who these people are and what they represent, whether that's fair or not. And that's where this bulletin lands tonight. Not with a simple conclusion, but with a sharper question. Are we witnessing celebrities losing control of their narratives, or are they adapting to a system where control itself has become an illusion? Because in this environment, even silence speaks, even absence is interpreted, and every action, intentional or not, becomes part of a story that never really stops evolving.